This is Kelso Sturgeon's College of Advanced Handicapping. I am Kelso Sturgeon, your professor for the day. We've got a very important lesson in the NFL. As I've been telling you, I hope you brought your pens and pencils and your notebooks, because I'm going to use a lot of figures today that I think that it would be beneficial for you to write down and save and use when the NFL season begins. But let's do a little business before we get into that. You know, you can get on board from the entire college and NFL football season right now for the early bird price of $199 and save yourself $150, which the service will cost once the season begins. And in addition to that, as a bonus, I'm giving you the entire baseball season free, baseball selections every single day, right through the World Series as part of your early bird membership. And also, you qualify for my two 200-unit college and NFL games of the year, 3 100-unit plays, and that 100-unit play on September the 1st is going to open the college season. Yes, I've already decided on my first 100-unit play, and I will get the cash. I'll lay anything they want. I know I'll win this ball game. So you get all these bonuses by signing up for college football right now. All the big game plays of the season, and free baseball every single day, an average of 2 unit rated selections each day. Sign up on this website for early bird football for just $199 charged to your major credit card. Also available at my office, toll free, 1-800-755-2255. And again, all major credit cards are accepted. You know, let's begin with a little, just a few notes about the NFL before we get into the technicalities of handicapping. The New England Patriots and the Green Bay Packers remain the 6-to-1 futures choices, co-favorites to win the Super Bowl. After that, it falls off dramatically. So the betting world is heavily into New England and Green Bay this season. 6-to-1 right now. If you like either one of them, I would get down at 6-to-1. They'll probably drop a little bit as the action picks up. Do I think either one of them will win the Super Bowl? I don't have a clue. But the prices are all posted out there. You know, in baseball, just a word about baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies remain the 5-to-2 favorite to win it all, followed by Boston at 4-to-1, and the New York Yankees at 5-to-1. In advanced betting lines on the NFL, you know, the NFL season opens Thursday night, September the 8th, in Green Bay, with the Packers playing host to the New Orleans Saints. The Packers are 5.5-point favorites in that game. In other key games opening week, these games on the following Sunday, Baltimore is a 2.5-point home favorite over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Giants are 3-point favorites at Washington, and the New York Jets are 4-point home favorites over the Cowboys. Now I want to talk about some of the technicalities of handicapping the NFL as compared to college football, and I do hope you take some notes here, because this is going to pay some big dividends for you before the NFL season is over. I'd like to first address the issue of key numbers. You know, key numbers in the basic key numbers in NFL football are 3, 4, 6, 7, and 10. Of course, there are other key numbers, but this is where most of the games fall. You know, when you're betting the NFL, do you realize that 24%, or more than 24%, almost 25% of all the games will fall on a final margin of 3 or 7? That's 1/4 of all the NFL games played. I did the study. I know. I saw it in black and white. This means that there should be some focus on the number. You know, in college football, for instance, let's just do some comparison here. In the NFL, 16.5% of the games fell on 3. That means that the final score was a 3-point margin. Period. A key number, obviously. In college football, that number was just 7%, or 9 points lower than in the NFL. In the NFL, 8.2% of the games fell on 7. In college football, that number was 6.3. Once again, the bottom line is 24% of all the NFL games fall on 3 or 7, and that leads me to a technical point. I will not play or bet with a bookmaker that does not permit me to buy up or down off the 3 and the 7. I realize that bookmakers don't like to do it, But I figure if you want my action, I'll give you a pass every once in a while. You can say you can't play this game up or down, but I want the ability on every Sunday of the season to be able to buy up or down off the 3 or the 7, because it is a key number, a dynamite key number. Now here's what sometimes I would do. I would buy the number down to 2.5, or buy the 7 down to 6.5, or buy the 3 up to 3.5 and the 7 up to 7.5, depending on how I really felt a game was going to go. So I must have the ability to do that. I would suggest that you speak with your bookmaker and find out if you can buy off the 3 and the 7. And in the beginning, he'll probably tell you you certainly can, because he thinks you're a sucker. But he may cut you off before the season is over. Many a bookmaker has been stung real good, especially on the 3, letting a guy buy up or down. My bookmaker lets you buy up or down on 99% of all the 3s and 7s that are offered during the NFL season. So just remember the key numbers. The basics are 3 and 7. 24% of the games fall on those 2 numbers, and it's a tremendous edge on your part to be able to lay 2.5 instead of 3, to lay 6.5 instead of 7, to take 3.5 instead of 3, and to take 7.5 instead of 7. Just remember it. Find a bookmaker who will let you do just that. Now, the only thing you have to do when you buy up and down a half a point, you've got to lay 120, a minus 120 instead of a minus 110. I promise you, it's well worth it. You'll win more bets than you'll ever lose by buying that half point up or down. Lay the 120 and don't worry about it. You've taken a tremendous edge in the NFL. I can't say that that figure holds up in the colleges, but in the NFL it does. Now, you know, the NFL, there's something about the NFL that's so different from college football, and you've got to handicap the two quite differently. You know, there are 32 NFL teams, and there is not any question that the worst team in the NFL, or the team perceived to be the worst in the NFL, can beat the team perceived to be the best. And I'm not talking about covering the spread. I'm talking about the best beating, or the worst beating the best straight up on any given Sunday. So in college football, that's just not going to happen. San Jose State is never going to beat Alabama. I can promise you that, no matter where they play. Yes, we have those upsets, such as Appalachian State beating Michigan, and last season James Madison beating Virginia Tech. Those are rare. It just doesn't happen. But in the NFL, it does happen. It happens maybe not once a week, maybe twice a month, or whatever. So while on the surface in the NFL it appears there could be a great difference in talent, they're not. If you can play in the NFL and get a spot on any team, you are very special. I don't care if you're on the taxi squad. These are the best of the best. You know, keep in mind, every year 9,500 students, student athletes, football players, graduate from the 600 and some colleges that play football at some level in this country. 9,500 of them. There are 32 NFL teams, and they carry 53 players on their squads. Now, get the figure, 9,500. Now you turn around, double that by 4. They're picking from a pool of 38,000 players over a 4-year period, and they've got 53 spots to put them in. Your chances of becoming an NFL player are just above 1.2%. I mean, it's just not going to happen. There aren't that many good players. So when these players get to an NFL team and find a spot on the roster, they are so special. Believe me, a guy you might think is a bum, he's special. He made an NFL football team, and that means that the talent level is there. Certainly, there's quarterbacks of different talent. There's running backs of different talent, but there's not a single team in the NFL that cannot, on any given Sunday, beat another team. That's not the case in college football. And you know, the hidden factor that results from all this talent is something that a lot of coaches don't even realize. You know, good football teams, always the favorite, not necessarily the winner. or the better football team, always the favorite, not necessarily the winner. But when these teams play, they play a 16-game schedule, and every single football team will develop a rhythm. Let's take the New England Patriots. Always been a great cover team or whatever. When you bet on New England, you know you're going to get a standout performance. They're going to show up. They're going to play hard, and the record says they win most of the time. But do not think for a second that they put the same effort into every single game. When New England is playing a top-flight team, an opponent that's its equal, they will come to town fired up and ready to fire their best shot, and they will take no prisoners. Now, let's say that the following week they play another team that's of their level. They will come to town with the same intensity, and they'll leave town out of gas. I mean, when you play competition that's as good as they play, regardless of who the opponent is, you expend so much energy that you run out of gas, and maybe in that third game you're not quite as effective. This opens the door to a lot of things, and we discuss it many times, and in the NFL it's real. This is a fact. I did a study. If you follow the rhythm of these teams, you can very easily predict when they're going to hit the valley, when they're going to hit the peak, when they're going to hit the valley, when they're going to hit the peak. And you can use that factor in your handicapping. You know, it'd be very dangerous to take a team as good as New England and lay 13 points or 12 points or whatever after they've come off 2 hard games. Now we get to the issue called the bounce factor, which in the NFL it absolutely works. If you see an NFL, and I'm going to just speak of the negative bounce here. If you see an NFL team that was a heavy favorite on one Sunday and lost straight up, you can bet on that team to win and cover the next week. It's as simple as that. That's their rhythm. The talent's there. They bounce back. Now, if you see a team that beat a team of its equal by 14 points on one Sunday, that team is a strong candidate not to cover the following Sunday. Simply has to do with the energy spent in that occasion. So there's 2 spots to watch for in betting the NFL. A team that was heavily favored coming off a loss is almost guaranteed to win and cover the following week. A team that was a 14-point favorite and lost, they're also going to bounce back and win. A team that's a 14-point favorite, in fact, probably does not lose its next start, maybe, but 20% of the time or whatever. Now, these are things to keep in mind as you handicap the NFL. It's a different game than college football, and you have to handicap it as if it's a different game. Every NFL team has the talent to play its entire 16-game season. There are only a handful of college teams that have the talent to play their 12-game seasons. At some point, they simply run out of gas. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be right back here next week with more college and NFL